Major movement in the migrant crisis. Let's talk about this. The legality around the right to shelter law seems to be shifting. Mayor Adams challenging who the law pertains to, arguing it should not mean the city is responsible to house the thousands of asylum seekers coming here to New York City. So with me now to talk about this and more is senior advisor to Mayor Eric Adams, Chief. Thank you for correcting. Chief Advisor Ingrid Lewis-Martin. Appreciate you being here.
Happy to be here. That happens a lot, but there's only one chief.
You got it. Yeah, that's right. We talked about you last time you were here about that title, right? So lots to cover here. The ruling by the Staten Island judge says the right to shelter should not include migrants. Now, the mayor seemingly agrees, right? So where do we go from here?
In court. We are actually in court arguing that very same thing. So we're hopeful that the ruling in Staten Island can be used to our benefit. That has been our argument from day one. The right to shelter was intended for our indigenous homeless population. So we argue that we should not have to shelter all of these immigrants. That's why it's important that the federal government does its job and close the borders. It's important that the federal government declare New York City as a state of emergency because we are in an emergency state. And give us all of the tools, the money, and the help commensurate with being deemed an emergency state.
Yeah, and you know, that right to shelter has been a huge component of it, right? Because there is the legality of making sure everybody has housing. If it were to change, how would you see it and the administration see it really alleviating some of the crisis?
Well, it would alleviate it to the extent that, first of all, others wouldn't be so ready and able to come to New York City because they would know, number one, okay, they're not going to provide us with shelter. So that would hopefully stop some people from coming in.
Slow down the process.
Yes. It's still a problem because we do have in excess of 61,400 migrants who are here and we're caring for them. Fortunately, all 118,000 who have come through our doors and graced us with their presence didn't stay. But we still have to find a way to get them to understand we are no longer responsible for you, so you need to find other means. Go to another state. However, I have to keep drumming this in, and I'm going to keep going back to this same point. The federal government needs to do its job. We need the federal government, the Congress members, the Senate, and the president to do its job. Close the borders. And until you close the borders, you need to come up with a full-on decompression strategy where you can take all of our migrants and move them throughout our 50 states. We have 50 states. We have a New York City mayor, a municipality that is handling a national crisis, and it's not fair.
Okay, and that's why there's
unfair.
There's going to be pamphlets handed out to migrants at the border saying, do not come to New York City. Who's down there giving those out?
We will have different people from our administration go down to do that. I don't know the exact number of people or who they are, but we will have different people go down and do that because we have to do it. We have no choice.
So, Ingrid, if the right to shelter changes, right, do you anticipate some of the financial burden being alleviated as well as the numbers of migrants arriving here? Because we're looking at that 5% cuts.
We're hopeful, but it will not be soon enough. For example, we spent in excess of $2 billion last year. This year we projected to be a total of $5 billion. And then next fiscal year, a total of $12 billion. We don't see that changing unless the federal government, again, does its job. We still have the 61,400. Unless they put them throughout the states, all 50 states, we're stuck with them.
So regardless if the right to shelter were to change, right, unless the federal government gets involved, those cuts are still going to happen.
We're hopeful that they won't, but they may happen. I don't want to overspeak. I am unsure, so I don't want to overspeak. But the other problem is this. The federal government said that the people from Venezuela would have the right to work if they've been here since, I think it's mid-spring, sometime, I think, like April, if I believe. For New York City, that means less than 12,000 people. Well under 12,000 people. And the federal government still has not even done the paperwork necessary to have those people work. So we don't have faith in that. We need the federal government to do its job. People are elected to do their job. The mayor's doing his job as the mayor of New York City, and he's doing the federal government's job. Come on.
Let me talk to you about what this date is. It's October 1st, right? Hiring freeze has been much talked about going into effect today. That's happening. So what does that look like?
Well, the good news is, I'm going to look directly at the camera. No one is being laid off in New York City. If you work for the city of New York, you have job security. That's number one. It also means that our essential services will not be touched. If you are a teacher, if you're a firefighter, a police officer, sanitation, we're trying not to mess with the essential services. What it does mean is that we're freezing hiring. So vacancies cannot be filled. That's what we're doing, basically.
But teachers,
that's different.
That's a different
Yes.
subject because it's deemed an essential service.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the latest on that. I do want to talk, we're almost out of time here, but I want to talk about the topic of housing, right? Cost of living so high in New York
Yes.
City. We keep talking about how a one-bedroom apartment, the median rent is over $4,000, right? The mayor had some big ideas that he came out with, right? So briefly here, how quickly could we see more affordable housing in New York? Because it's so needed.
Well, everything takes a while to build.
Right.
However, the good news is that this has become a city of yes under the Adams administration. We have an awesome deputy mayor named Maria Torres Springer. If she hasn't been on your show, you should have her on your show because she's phenomenal. And she has a wonderful team. And also we have a great city planner in Dan Garodnick. And they've come up with a great initiative that we can work in partnership with the City Council and actually build approximately 100,000 units of affordable housing, which we can start
Over the course of what?
the next year, starting in a year.
To begin break ground.
Yes, yes.
I mean, not completed in a year, but to break ground. And you're confident this
Probably in mid next year we can start. We can start to put the process into place. Not for all 100,000 units, of course not, but at least to get the ball rolling. We need our partners in Albany to work with us.
And do you need the City Council to approve it?
We do, but we feel confident that we'll get the approval because it's in alignment with the Speaker of the City Council. So we see this as a great opportunity for the mayor and the Speaker to partner. We also need our partners in Albany for the affordable piece. Because we need them to pass those laws and those regulations. But regardless, we can build a housing, regardless.
This is just the start of the conversation, Ingrid.
We are excited about it.
We got you. We got to have you back, okay?
I'm happy to come back.
We'll come back anytime to talk about these things. Ingrid Lewis, Chief Advisor.
Yes.
Great to have you here on
Thank
Picks
you.
on Politics, all right?